Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. Today we're going to be talking about submachine guns, one of my favourite subjects, and we're not just talking about anything to do with submachine guns. What we're talking about today is stocks, and I've got some examples in front of me of some of my favourite submachine guns, and all of them will have a stock. And what I see when I go out on the field is that a lot of people resort to the smallest form factor for a submachine gun. After all, you know, you're getting 40, 50 round mags with these things, you know, that they can absolutely dominate in CQB if you're going to be wanting to run gas. And this is what I kind of do, you know, for me it's all about the gas guns. But as I see people using submachine guns, I often see them in this configuration with the stock collapsed. Same with like a Mach 11, I'd see people using it like this, which is fine, and certainly you can do that because you're really making the most of that tiny form factor. But actually, there are a couple of things that you can do, and a couple of things that if you're running your stock collapsed on your SMG, that you're kind of missing out a little bit. And actually, you know, the reason that these guns have folding or collapsible stocks is for transportation. So it's designed so that it could be potentially under a coat or something, and then when you actually need to take it out and shoot it, you would take it out and you would shoulder it and shoot the gun. Well, in Airsoft, our submachine guns, even the gas ones, don't really have a lot of recoil. They have like a bit of a jolt, but nothing that you could really consider to be recoil, not the same as some of the gas rifles do. So why am I talking about this? Like, who cares? Like, you know, run your stock in, run your stock out. Like, what does it matter? Well, for me, and in my experience, because in Airsoft we don't actually need to manage the recoil, which means that we can actually hold this, we don't actually have to hold this into our shoulder. What I tend to use all Airsoft stocks for is a point of reference, and it's a third contact point for me to have with the gun. So the first point of contact being my shooting hand, that's like the number one. The second is going to go on the front, and the third is actually just going to go against my cheek. Now, in this configuration, you can see that I'm not actually holding the gun, but I'm just putting pressure in with this hand, and it's pushing against my cheek. What that actually allows me to do, as you can see from there, is look directly over the top of the sights of the gun. Now, depending on which submachine gun that you're going to use, so I've got a Scorpion here as an example. Again, you know, you don't have to worry about mitigating recoil, so you don't have to worry about getting your head right down and putting this stock in your shoulder. That's not what I use it for. I just bring it up and I will have it against my cheek, and it gives me that point of reference. And again, as you'll see, I'm looking directly over the top of the sights. This basically makes shooting one of these guns really, really intuitive. One of my favourite submachine guns, right here, the Mach 11. Again, I always go round in this configuration, and it doesn't mean to say that you have to always have it pushed against your cheek, but actually when you're coming, when you're going to bring your gun up on someone and you're coming around a corner or something, having that third point of reference means that you can bring the gun up and it stays very, very steady. If you're holding the gun like this, then there's a chance that it can wobble because you've got 2 points of contact. If you get that third point of contact, and you see, I'm not even worried about the stock being in my shoulder, or I don't care where it is, because I'm not even thinking about this bit. I'm just thinking about getting my face onto here and just looking directly over the top of the sights. And that's what I do. And you might be thinking, yeah, Ollie, but I'm perfectly good and I really like, you know, just being able to pop out and shoot like this. And certainly for a lot of the engagements that you get into in CQB, you'll be fine kind of doing that. But I think you could probably do better. And I'm going to try and give you a bit of an example. So look, here we've got an MP7, yeah, no mag or anything. So I can bring it up and I can hold it quite tight. And if you're going to be shooting in CQB, you're either going to be moving forwards, which means that you're going to be taking steps, which means the gun is also going to be moving. So you're then trying to steady this entire platform just with your two hands, okay? It can be done, yeah, lots of people do it. You can also use a sling tension method, but you're not going to get that cheek weld, so you're not going to get that extra stability. Now, if you're going to be walking along and you choose to have the gun like this, so as you can see, that's sat on top of my shoulder, but I just don't care because my eye is perfectly lined up with the optic. And that's, again, is really comfortable. You can see that I'm just palming with this hand, that I don't need to be grabbing on. I can just palm with the two hands. But as long as I've got it pressed against my face, it makes it a lot easier, even when I'm moving, to be able to control where those shots are. Those 3 points of contact, that extra point of contact with your face, makes such a massive difference. The other time that you'll find that it's really, really helpful is when you're coming round a barricade. So say you go up and you're hidden behind some cover and you're going to be moving out, taking shots, moving back in again. Well, most people, if you've been playing for a while, what you'll end up doing is you will line your shot up while you're still behind the barricade. You'll then pop out, take the shot and come back in again. Now, having this third point of contact means that all I have to do is either shift my hips or basically shift my weight over to one side, and I move over, the dot goes onto my target, I pull the trigger and I move back in. That's really, really effective as far as getting one or two shots out there on target. When you're in a firefight where you just have to pop out very quickly, again, it's much easier for me to do that with the stock pressed against my face than it is to have that stock fully collapsed and try and go in and out. And I'm trying to move out, make sure that my head is going to be behind the sights, line those sights up, make sure it's all nice and steady, and pull the trigger. I've just eliminated so many variables just by putting my face against it, moving out, pulling the trigger, and moving back in again. Even when you move back in, you can get your head back in before the rest of the gun. The bit that you're worried about is moving out and taking that shot, and then just once you've taken your shot, get back in. But it's a technique that I've been using for years, and I think most experienced players, you're going to know about this, so you will already be using your stock on your gun. And rather than going it out with it always collapsed and being like, I just want to make the most of the fact that this is a tiny gun. Well, it is, but you may be able to shoot better with it. And to those people that don't use your stocks, maybe those few little examples that I've shown you are going to encourage you to start popping the stock out and realise that actually it doesn't really get in the way that much. For me, again, I get in on it and I can get as close up as I want, but as long as I've got that point of contact, then I know that I'm going to be able to have much steadier shots, and also popping out and taking shots very quickly. It's just much easier. I don't have to try and line my head up with the sights or anything like that. Everything's already lined up. You move out, you move back in again. It just makes the whole process simpler. And when you get used to those kind of very simple processes, it becomes very natural to adopt them. So that's how I would always approach a firefight. And for me, actually, I shoot as much left-handed as I do right-handed. So for me, again, I'm more than happy to be coming up and, again, just bringing it up against my cheek. And it's helped me shoot left-handed a lot better as well. So I'm not there kind of trying to figure out where it should be. It's just up against my cheek, no thinking about it. I know that if my cheek is here, I'm looking straight over the top of the gun. And wherever I pull the trigger, that's basically where the BBs are going to be going. So, yeah, just a little note out there. So feel free to run your stocks collapsed and make the most of the tiny form factor that you get from a submachine gun and airsoft. That's brilliant. I love the fact that people do that. But if you're going to want to take shots on the move or popping out from targets and taking more accurate shots, and hopefully taking less shots to hit your target, then I'd suggest popping the stock out and just using this technique and just give it a go. Give it a go in your next game. What harm is it going to do? So until the next time, guys, take care.